Well, Alexis, it was only a matter of time, I think, before United were going to be strongly linked to Gareth Bale. He made it very clear that, he was ready to consider his future if he didn't get more playing time. And I think you have to look beyond that and say, what does preparing a bid actually mean? My understanding is obviously his agent, Jonathan Barnett, has been in touch with the relevant people. The difficulty is, of course, there's very few clubs in the world that can afford Gareth Bale. He's 28 years old. He has a long-term contract. He earns in excess of $30 million a year. And United are one of the very few clubs that can match that. I think it would be mad for United not to make an inquiry. Now, from there to saying this is going to go ahead, 100 million euros is a huge amount of money, even for a club like Manchester United. You've got issues, obviously, with Alexis Sanchez. One of the two would have to switch flanks. And certainly Mourinho, thus far, has prioritized the defense. And you kind of wonder, one of the reasons that Bale is looking to move on is that, there's been some suggestion in Madrid that, he doesn't want to track back and do the defending. He wants to focus and be fresh on the attacking front. One thing you know about Mourinho's team, you need to track back and work hard off the ball.
Well, Craig, I know we spoke a little bit about this yesterday, and you were pretty adamant that Bale should probably stay at Real Madrid, for next season. But does this transfer make sense for Jose Mourinho?
Well, I'm not adamant he should stay for next season. I'm adamant he should see what they do in terms of appointing a new manager and then take it from there. Mm-hmm. Clearly, if the situation had continued under Zinedine Zidane, who's no longer there, then he would have to look to be leaving because his game time was limited. And as Gab said, at 28, he's way better than that, and he's wasting himself to some extent. But since the managerial situation has changed, then in my opinion, his mindset and his strategy should change in the next few weeks.
So does this kind of a transfer make sense for Mourinho?
What?
Gareth Bale at Man United?
Gareth Bale makes sense for most clubs.
Anybody. Yeah.
So whether it's Jose Mourinho or anybody, it makes sense. It makes sense for most clubs when he's fit.
Stevie?
We've always spoken about Gareth Bale going to Manchester United, and the question has always been the same one. Considering the way Mourinho plays, considering Mourinho would want him to defend, would Gareth Bale want to go to Manchester United? Mm. If Sarri, for example, was the manager of Manchester United, this whole thing would be an awful lot easier. I'm with Craig, though. The fact that Zidane is gone, I don't see any way that Bale goes. And by the way, if he does go, it's going to be a lot more.
So here we are standing in the beautiful sunshine here at Wembley. 2-1 it finished to England. Fans are absolutely delighted. Gareth Southgate's side, Colin, look pretty impressive. Dare we dream?
England, World Cup, dream. I think that's it's a bit of an oxymoron to say England and the World Cup. But look, in fairness, I don't think this England team has enough, to get past maybe at the very best the quarterfinals. In the first half, you could see they looked like they were good, but when you see the way Nigeria responded in the second half, Gareth Southgate didn't seem to have a plan B. His wing backs just weren't there anymore, and then there really wasn't any creative force in the middle to get them out. Dele Alli just couldn't find the spaces in between that he normally does, and Harry Kane for some reason looked a bit quiet tonight. So.
Despite scoring a goal.
Exactly. Well, he did score a goal, which is great.
With a little bit of help from your keeper, it has to be said.
Exactly. But when you put this England side against the likes of Germany, Argentina, Brazil, even France and Belgium, I don't think they have what it takes to go all the way.
One thing that I want to ask you about is the three at the back that England have been using for some time now, and they do look pretty impressive. Obviously, we saw Gary Cahill open the scoring with a header as well. And this is something that we see a lot of defensive qualities sort of in previous matches, friendlies, but it was nice to see a couple of goals from England in this game. Are we going to see a lot of goals from England in the World Cup, do you believe?
Well, it's said that defense wins you championships, so I don't think it's about how many goals you score, but it's how many you can keep out. And defensively, England don't look that bad at all. But, I was a bit worried about the three at the back because, again, we still go back to the second half. The number of chances Nigeria created in that second half against England, at some point they were struggling. They were really, really struggling. So I'm worried, even when Danny Rose came on, he couldn't get anywhere. So I think Gareth Southgate needs to look at his team and find a plan B, especially when he's playing against the big boys.
I want to talk to you about Jordan Pickford. Do you think that he's impressed his manager in this game? Jack Butland, will he get a chance in the next friendly, do you believe?
I love Pickford. I mean, I like what he did. I'm not sure if he's going to be the number one going forward, but he was calm, he was confident, and I mean, he looked like he could be.
I begin from the owner to the manager to some players. It seems like there's just absolute turmoil. Just how serious is this situation?
Well, I think there's one thing that trumps everything else right now, and that is a situation with the owner, Roman Abramovich, because, you know, frankly, I always had the impression the issue of tension with the players had been overplayed. It's only a couple of them. They're at the World Cup anyway. And the issue with the manager, look, worst comes to worst, they have a manager. His name is Antonio Conte. He just won the FA Cup, and he won the league the year before. So I think from the club's perspective, if the scenario happens where Conte is still around, it may not be ideal, but I think they'd rather do that than go and pay him off or go and make a rush decision for what could be the wrong guy. But the issue with Abramovich is pretty serious because he has not had his British investor visa renewed thus far. That could change in the future. And there are implications for it. It limits the amount of time that he can spend here in England. He does have an Israeli passport as well, but technically it's not a business, it's not a residence or a work visa, of course. He can just come in. And Chelsea, of course, have announced that they're putting their stadium expansion plans on hold. That would have been an investment of near to $1 billion. Now, they say it's the current business climate and Brexit and whatever else that's not favorable. But you can't help but taking a step back and saying, well, wait a minute. If I'm Abramovich, you know, you're happy to take my money and all my investment in the country, but you won't let me come and live and work there. Why should I continue?
Welcome into Extra Time on this fine Saturday.
What's that about? Show business.
Because this is a show.
Show business.
Well, you know me, and I'm here with Stevie and Craig. Gab Marcotti is also with us. Are we ready to get into these questions?
She does that. That's the only time she doesn't take a selfie.
Oh, whatever. I took one before the show. Craig kind of likes our selfies. Look out for my one on Twitter now.
I don't like seeing
Craig's
selfies
actually smiling in
on social media,
which
500 times a day.
Craig, you've given up Twitter, haven't you?
No, I'm on Twitter.
No, but you've given up.
I'm not
posting.
tweeting.
It's been a while.
Tweeting. I can't be bothered.
Ever again?
Well, I don't know, but I like to get my news. But I'm not tweeting. I can't be bothered tweeting. I just can't be bothered. Some people have got no life, do it all the time. You know, start talking about football every day. every waking minute talking about teams and football and the national team and the World Cup and all. I'm like, oh my God, get a life. Just get a life. Go
Are you talking about Gab Marcotti?
No.
Oh. All right, well,
I'm not talking about Gab, no.
Speaking of Twitter, let's get into our questions that people have sent. This one's from a mate. He wants to know, with the inclusion of VAR in the World Cup, how will it affect the game?
Well, if it's anything to do with the recent trials and tribulations in Major League Soccer, it could be very interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of debates had over decisions with VAR because it's been shown already it's not as simplistic as maybe some had hoped at the start. It's very, yeah, it's been a little troublesome, but I think it's going to work in a lot of decisions. But then I think we will have some where,
yeah, there's going to be some catastrophes.
That's
because even the leagues that are using it are having trouble getting things right and doing it in a timely manner. So there's going to be referees who are not used to it, who are at the World Cup. I mean, there could be some long pauses, shall we say.
Sounds like they'll be the ones making all the headlines instead of the actual game itself. Gab.
If they get the decisions right, though, it'll be worth it.
Gab, what do you think?
Hey, Alexis, is it okay if I name drop?
Name drop, Gab, of course.
So on my way back from Kiev, I was at the airport. I was in the lounge with Stuart Robson.
Is the name McDonald's?
Oh.
No, and it's not Robson either. No, there was another bald man or shaven-headed man in the lounge, and that was one Luigi Collina. No, I just told you, Collina. Yul Brynner, I think, passed away a few years ago.
Yul Brynner's passed away?
Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Is
it a Yul Brynner lookalike?
It could very well, maybe.
Oh, Stevie doesn't know what to say now.
A little bit.
What, Mark Donaldson?
Guys, we digress. Let Gab make his point.
Go on.
I was going to take a selfie, Alexis, with Colina, because I know you appreciate those, but
I do.
I didn't have my stick with me. So instead, we talked about VAR at the World Cup, and you know, look, he's obviously not going to talk it down, but it did make a few interesting points, which I wasn't aware of. They've had 6 different VAR specific training camps for referees ahead of this World Cup. Normally they only have 2. And I think the main thing is that a lot of the complaints that we've had about VAR, which is, well, it robs us of the spontaneity of the goal celebration, and most of all, it disrupts the flow of the game. I think the general thinking is that that's going to be less of an issue at this World Cup because the stakes are higher in a World Cup. People still talk about refereeing decisions from decades ago, which you tend not to do when it's a random FA Cup game or indeed a mid-table league clash. So as long as they get things right, and if there's a major refereeing blunder that's corrected by VAR, then that's going to go some ways, I think he hopes, to getting people on board with this. But yeah, obviously there's going to be teething problems, as you'd expect, mostly to do with the threshold of when VAR can intervene and when to let it slide.
Tell you what, that sounds like a great trip back from Kiev. You've got Stuart Robson talking about the merits of a back 3 over a back 4 and how the wing backs can get forward, and you've got Gab for a 5-hour flight from Kiev talking about VAR. If that's not enough to open the plane door and jump out at 25,000 feet, I don't know what is.
Tell you what, I hope they...
Actually, Craig, if I can point out, you would have been safe because Stuart was in business class, as I'm sure you would have been.
Exactly.
I was all the way in the back of the plane, so we couldn't hear each other.
And he never moved for you? If I would have been travelling with you, Gab, I'd have said, no, I'm not going business, I'm a team player, I'll go back there and listen to VAR for 5 hours. The best thing.
Let's just hope VAR they can do it.
Because you're a good friend, unlike Stuart.
Yes. Then what Gab took to take us to tell us what they were going to do.
All right, let's move on to the next question, shall we?
The whole consensus is there will be some issues.
Exactly.
Shambles.
We're not looking forward to, but whatever. It's part of the game, I suppose. Now, Udad Patel wants to know, should Ter Stegen start for Germany instead of Manuel Neuer? We saw Neuer back in action today, finally for Germany in that friendly. Was it enough to guarantee a start for him?
What's the tester? Ter Stegen's had a great season.
That's a good question. When it would go down to the fitness of Neuer probably, and then just I don't think Jogi Löw would be frightened to make that decision.
No, and if he does play Ter Stegen, he's had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
You know, that Barcelona side, start of the year, everybody was wondering what they were going to be like, and they didn't start particularly brilliantly, but he did.
I mean, I think there's plenty of managers out there that would love to be able to choose between two goalkeepers of that quality.
What will happen is the goalkeeper coach is going to be hugely involved in it, because I would imagine he'll be the one he'll tip the balance either way. Because if he turns around and says Neuer is as good as he's always been, then I guess you play Neuer.
Well,
we're a goalkeeping coach we've got, I'm not going to mention names, but we're a goalkeeping coach who I worked with, and Stevie probably worked with in his time there, I would imagine. And he had 2 goalies, we had 2 goalies at the time that were very, very good. I mean, top drawer goalies. But he was friends with one of them over the other one. And it was a 50-50 split between these 2 keepers, but the goalkeeper coach's friend played 75% of games over the other one.
And the thing is, as a manager, that's the reason why you have the goalie coach.
So you have to listen to them.
You can't do everything, you've got to listen to him. And that's why he'll be huge and who starts for Germany, whether it's Ter Stegen or Neuer.
Well, luckily, it's not that long before we find out the answer to that one. What about
I have to say, I'm
now?
not going to be losing any sleep over it.
I don't think Germany's losing much sleep over that either.
It's not a bad decision he has.
Exactly. Reese wants to know, Emre Can has demonstrated that he has all the tools required of a top box-to-box midfielder. Lost for Liverpool, but he will bloom at Juve as a starter. Thoughts? He, of course, has agreed a deal to join.
Yes, he is a loss. And yes, I think he'll do well for Juventus. But you know what? Liverpool have got 2 players coming in to replace him that are as good as, if not better, and Keita particularly, and Fabinho. So yeah, I'm sure he will do well.
But you're not losing
it's a loss to Liverpool's squad depth, that's for sure. But I like the two guys that have come in.
Dylan wants to know, is the draw against Colombia enough to prove to Stevie Nicol that Egypt is competitive even without Salah?
On a friendly.
Well, Colombia haven't been great.
They haven't turned it on yet. But
I
Stevie, you're a
don't
fan
think-
of Colombia. You say that Colombia can beat anybody on their day.
Yeah, they could. I don't think I'm saying anything that millions of other people haven't already said. Without Salah, that's a huge chunk of Egypt's firepower gone.
But at least they
Lost.
got a draw now against a top team in your eyes. So is that
it's a
enough?
friendly. Germany got beat by Austria, but yet we still know that they're going to be in at least the semis, right?
But if-
of the World Cup.
If Colombia are that good, you'd almost expect them to put 4 or 5 past them.
You're not really listening to what I'm saying, are you?
I'm just trying to be
You
facetious.
know that word friendly?
I'm being facetious. Here's Stevie. I'm trying to stick up for Dylan. And, what would Arsene Wenger do? That's your screen name. You're going with it. Why not? He wants to know, Stevie and Craig, LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan Spieth.
No,
Go
Michael
Jordan.
Jordan.
I have to say, I haven't seen LeBron play.
What?
He's a beast.
No, I know who he is. I haven't seen him play because I don't watch basketball.
But I heard you were a top basketball player back in your day because
No,
you were one of the
people-
taller ones in Scotland.
People could tell you anything. That's not a very nice remark about Scottish people, you know.
What? You were one of the taller ones?
You s-
In your...
saying all Scottish people are small
No.
and ginger and wear glasses.
Where did this
And
ginger
a
and wear
pasty white
glasses?
skin.
Pink.
It goes
yeah.
red under the sun.
Pink.
I'd
So Craig's
happily
not a
be
fan of
pink.
basketball.
No, I'm not. But I mean, Michael Jordan would be growing up. Would be. I don't know.
Tell you what,
Stevie.
for the size of LeBron James, the way he gets around is absolutely unbelievable.
What size is he?
He's huge. Have you seen his
But most
shoulders?
basketball
And
players
I know,
are.
but
Jordan's a
Can you
completely...
put a number on it?
Si-
We're just saying
It's
he's
not like
huge.
shoes, you know what I mean? It's not a size 10,
Let's not
like a
split
hat.
it. If we want
like
a
yourself,
sensible
size
answer, let's go to Gab. Gab, who's it for you? LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Well, I'd let my heart speak and say Allen Iverson, but then you'd complain that that's not a sensible answer.
Me, not me. I said
I'm
let's get
gonna
a
lean
sensible answer
Jordan.
from you.
I'm going to lean Jordan simply because of his record in the finals. But if LeBron comes and signs for my Sixers next year, then I may well give you a different answer.
Larry Bird.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
who do you
Larry
guys have?
Bird.
Who do
You don't even know what I'm talking about. Larry Bird.
Larry Bird, I know Larry Bird.
Who did he play for?
I wasn't that, but I know of who he is.
Who did Larry Bird play for?
Boston.
Correct.
Boston Celtics.
You did, you
Yeah,
know,
right.
by the way. I wasn't expecting that either.
No.
I like,
Do you know
I
why?
like Michael
Do you know
Jordan
why?
as a
Because
space
somebody
jam.
told her.
Somebody told her.
Somebody told her in her ear.
Yes, thank
I
you. Pete told you.
That's who I grew
Because
up
you had
with.
absolutely
Our
no